I woke up to strange fog surrounding our house. I woke up to fog. Fog is pretty common in our area. We live in a little valley and the fog just sort of pools here, especially in the early morning. But this fog, this was different. Asterisk. For one, it was incredibly thick. When I let Tucker, our dog, out for his morning bathroom break, he sprinted into the backyard and completely disappeared. Tucker. Our backyard is big, but not that big. I could hear him pawing around in the grass, but I couldn't see him, or the far side of the fence. Of course, my kids loved it. Cool, Adrian yelled. It's like we're living in a cloud. Emma said. I was less thrilled. I could hear the cars roaring by on the main road, less than 30 feet from our front door. But I couldn't see them. And, probably, they couldn't see us. That's a lot of fog. Really dangerous to be driving right now, I said. Reminds me of that time up in Maine, my wife started. Ah, yes. The Maine fog story I'd heard 100 times. That's what marriage is, basically, repeating the same stories to each other until one of you dies. It was like pea soup, and I pulled back the curtain and peered out the window. Okay, I could see the wind spinners 10 feet from the door. And the outline of our row of privacy shrubs. And maybe, if I squinted, I could see the soft outline of the cars passing. But nothing beyond that. Wham! Asterisk. I crashed into a tree. Well, it was a tiny one, little more than a sapling, really. I turned around. The kids were crowded around the sliding glass door with Tucker, watching the fog. They were ready to just jump out there. I wasn't sure I liked that. And even the tow truck couldn't find me. Mary broke into laughter, she always did at the end of the story. I forced a laugh, too, pretending I was listening. Daddy, can we go outside? Emma asked, tugging at my hand. I don't know, please. Fine, okay. As soon as I opened the door, they rocketed outside. And disappeared. Sighing, I ran out after them, blindly maneuvering through the white. Wait, where were they? I stood in the backyard. Thick fog surrounded me. I couldn't see the back door anymore. I spun around, squinting at the hazy outlines of the picket fence, trying to orient myself. Adrian, Emma, we're over here, came Emma's voice, somewhere to my left. I breathed out a sigh of relief and stepped to the left. And there it was, right there, Emma's and Adrian's playhouse. Weird. I'd been picturing myself more to the right, where Mary used to grow roses a few years ago. This is a house on top of a giant cloud, Emma proclaimed. This is a flying scooter. Adrian yelled, making whoosh noises as he pushed the scooter through the mud. I sat on the damp grass, watching them closely as they played. 2 hours later, the fog was as thick as ever. Usually in this area, the fog slowly dissipates as the sun rises. But not this time. At 9 a.m., the fog was still a thick white blanket, obscuring everything that was more than 20 feet away. And that's when I realized something else. Our backyard faces a row of other backyards. The 1-3 houses to the left has this pair of yappy little white dogs, don't ask me what kind, they all look the same to me. Yapping away at this or that constantly. This morning, they were completely silent. I guess everyone's inside. Then I frowned. Maybe they're inside for a reason. Maybe they know something I don't. Asterisk. I quickly pulled out my phone and shot a text off to a few of our neighbors. 5 minutes passed, then 10. No one replied. Did a few Google searches with our town name and fog, mist, weather. Nothing about it online. I sat in the grass, watching Emma and Adrian play inside, idly twirling the phone between my fingers. Mary appeared out of the fog, her silhouette slowly darkening as she stepped towards us. You want to take your morning run? I can watch the kids. No, it's too foggy. She quirked an eyebrow at me. I thought you committed to exercising every day. Yeah, but these are extenuating circumstances. Fog. I could see rain, or snow, but fog. Asterisk. Damn it. I'd made Mary my accountability partner in getting fit, after chasing the kids for more than 10 minutes would leave me panting for air. And she was not easy on me. Fine, I grumbled. She smiled smugly. I went inside and put on my workout clothes, then left. The fog was just as bad in the front yard as it was in the backyard. I crossed the driveway, then stopped. Usually, when there was such thick fog like this, our cars would be covered in a thin coating of glistening mist. But today, they looked dry as a bone. Weird. Asterisk. I turned down the sidewalk and continued down, away from the main road. My pounding footsteps were loud in the silence. Houses loomed through the fog like colossal monsters, slowly fading into view. Then I heard whistling. A clear melody, cutting through the fog. It took me 10 more paces until I saw the source, old Mr. Frank Cambry, out working on his yard. "Hey, Jared," he called as he saw me. I slowed to a stop. "Hey, what's up with this fog, huh?" "Oh, I don't know," he shrugged, then brought the pruning shear back up to the shrub. Snip. "We've always got fog." Frank was constantly working on his lawn. It was the pride of his home. Some men like their cars, or computers, or a man cave in the basement. This guy loved his lawn. His bushes were always pruned, his grass always a vivid shade of green, even in the fall. But still, working on the lawn in extreme fog. A little weird, even for him. Then again, I was the one jogging in it. It usually lets up by now, doesn't it? It's almost 10 a.m. He didn't take his eyes off the shrubs. "Snip, snip. I don't know about that," he said, noncommittally. "And it's really thick fog. Like thicker than usual. You don't think it's weird?" "Nope." Then he started whistling again, as if to signal the conversation was over. Kind of rude, I thought, glancing at him. Then I continued running, down the sidewalk, taking my usual loop around the neighborhood. The houses passed by me, all dark, all quiet. I was about 10 houses down when the whistling stopped. It didn't slowly fade away, like I'd expect it to as I walked out of range. And it didn't cut off abruptly, either, as if Frank had decided to stop whistling. No, it had quickly faded into silence. Like someone turning the dial down on a radio. Huh, that's kind of strange. But I continued running down the sidewalk, thinking nothing of it. It was so surreal. The houses across the street were blurred and washed out, gray silhouettes with no detail. Several feet in front of me, the sidewalk faded into white nothingness. Where the sidewalk ends, maybe in seconds, I'd be careening off the edge of the world, into a void of nothingness. What a happy thought. Asterisk. As I got close to home, the sharp barks of 2 yapping dogs jolted me from my thoughts. Ah, finally, my old yappy pals. I kept running, my legs aching, lungs burning. And then I froze. Just like the whistling, the barking stopped. A quick fade out, like someone turning down the dial of a radio. My heart sank. There is something really weird about this fog. It's muffling sound. What the fuck is going on here? And I thought of Mr. Cambry, his rudeness about it all. Does he know something I don't? Asterisk. I sprinted back to the house. Ran out into the backyard, pulled Mary aside. There's something really weird going on. Let's get the kids inside. But they're having so much fun. Yeah, well, I opened the playhouse door, reached my hand inside, and grabbed Emma's arm. "Come on," I said, pulling her gently. "We need to get inside." "No, I don't want to." "Too bad. We need to." I stopped. "Emma, where's Adrian?" "I don't know." "Mary, where's Adrian?" "I thought he was in the playhouse with Emma." "Well, he's not. He's got to be in the backyard," Mary said, plainly. "That's why we have the fence. He knows how to open the gate." "You know that." How could she be so calm? Adrian, where are you?" I shouted. My heart dropped as I whirled around, searching for any trace of him. A muddy trail from scooter wheels. Footprints. A little silhouette. But there was nothing, only fog. Adrian was only 4, he didn't have the sense that Emma had. The sense not to talk to strangers. Or walk into the road. Oh my god, the road. Cars roaring by, in thick fog, that wouldn't see him, until it was too late. I ran blindly through the white, up the side yard. The gray silhouette of the gate slowly faded into view. No. Asterisk. It was open. "Adrian," I screamed. "Adrian, where are you? Come back here, right now." Oh, God. The fog made this impossible. He could be running into the road right now, and I wouldn't know. "Adrian," I screamed, running wildly. And then, just like the whistling, a sound faded into my ears. Thump, thump, thump. Asterisk. My heart dropped. "Adrian," I screamed, running towards the sound. The silhouette slowly came into view. Adrian, at the far end of our front yard. Standing in the corner between the side of the house and the picket fence. Slowly bashing his head into the fence. Thump, thump, thump. Asterisk. Adrian. He took a step, smacked his head into the wooden fence. Thump. Feet slid back in the mud. Took another step. Thump. Asterisk. Adrian. I grabbed him by the shoulders and pulled him away. Why are you doing that?" He looked at me blankly. There was a swollen lump on his forehead, already darkening with a bruise. "Adrian." He broke eye contact. "I don't know," he muttered to the ground. "Were you trying to hurt yourself?" "No." I was trying to get back to you and Emma and Mommy. His lip quivered. Then he threw his arms around me and squeezed, holding on tight. But I got lost. Got lost. In the fog. I glanced around. The fog was bad, but clearly he could see the fence a few feet in front of him. Him repeatedly smacking into it was deliberate. It's okay, Adrian, it's okay. Do you want to go inside and get some chocolate milk? He nodded. I walked him back inside, holding his hand tightly, reassuring him that everything was okay, that it was all better now. But everything was definitely not okay. The fog was still there when the sun set. The four of us sat around the dinner table, eating quietly. Not much to say. Emma was still sulking about outside playtime being cut short, and Adrian just looked around with a listless, empty gaze. My wife attempted to fill the void with rambling conversation a few times, but it never picked up. Thump, 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 asterisk. That horrible sound repeated in my head. Over and over again. Adrian was a wacky kid, and he didn't always look out for his safety. He was fond of doing risky things, like jumping off the sofa, spinning in the office chair, climbing on things, but I'd never seen him intentionally hurt himself. Thump, 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 asterisk. And the dazed look in his eyes when I'd stopped him. It was like I'd woken him from a trance. He was trying to get back to us, and he'd gotten lost in the fog. So he decided to pound his head against the fence, over and over. I shuddered and pushed my plate of pasta away. You're done? Mary asked. Yeah, I think so. Wow, nobody feels like eating tonight. Huh, can I go play with my dolls? Emma asked. I want to go, too, Adrian added. 5 more bites. Both of you, Mary said, pointing her fork accusingly. Then they ran off, and it was just the two of us, clearing dishes from the table. Everything okay? She asked, plunging Emma's frozen dish under the faucet. Yeah, just shook up from the whole Adrian thing earlier. Sure. She grabbed the sponge. That kind of behavior is common, though, Jared. Some kids bite themselves or bang their heads to cope with emotions or get attention. He's only 4. He's still got a lot to figure out. Yeah, I guess. That was another thing that bothered me. Mary seemed so calm about everything. About the fog, about losing Adrian, about him banging his head. Years ago she'd been the other way, worrying about everything. When she was pregnant with Adrian, we'd gotten news that something looked wrong on the ultrasound. In the end, everything was fine, but for the few weeks we didn't know, Mary was an absolute wreck. And now, she didn't care. I grabbed Adrian's dish and hit it against the side of the trash can. Fat rigatoni pasta slid off and fell into the garbage with a goopy splat. I slid the plate onto the counter and turned around. I froze. Emma's frozen dish was lying shattered on the floor. Elsa's face split right in two. And next to it, lying on the kitchen floor, was Mary. One arm splayed out, the other tucked across her chest. Dark liquid seeping into her pink dress, dripping down from her face. Her eyes wide, blank, unseeing. Mary. Oh, my God, Mary. I dropped to my knees. Reached for her shoulder. Mary, what happened? What? Jared. I whipped around. Mary was standing behind me, holding the frozen dish. Are you okay? She asked, extending a hand to help me up off the floor. I looked down. There was nothing in front of me. My hand was touching empty tile. I'm fine, I stuttered. I grabbed the next plate off the stack and plunged it under the sink, my hands trembling. What the fuck just happened? Asterisk. Did I just hallucinate my wife being dead? Asterisk. I glanced out the window. The fog blanketed the entire backyard, thick and heavy. I could barely see 5 feet into the backyard. I shuddered. And then something clicked. Mary, do you think the fog isn't really fog? She looked up at me. What do you mean? Could it be some sort of smoke? Or spillover from the power plant? Or some sort of gas? My voice was hurried, now. Frantic. Something that messes with our minds. A drug. She gave me a weird look. No, I think it's fog. She reached over and shut the sink off, then slid her plate in the drying rack. But, Adrian's acting so odd, and, I hesitated, then decided not to mention what I'd just seen. Well, I'm not feeling so great, either. It's just fog. You're worrying about nothing. She smiled at me, then walked out of the room. I stared out the window. The fog hung in the air, thick as ever. Asterisk. I sat in the rocking chair. Emma was on the floor, drawing pictures with Adrian. Mary's head rested on my shoulder, as she read some thriller. But I couldn't stop thinking about what I'd seen. There's a reason why I didn't tell her about it, a good one. A few years ago, I don't even remember exactly when it was, now, Mary and I weren't in a good place. I'd lost my job, been unemployed for several months, and was turning to alcohol. Some nights I'd just drink myself silly in the study all night. Usually, nothing came of it. The worst I'd do is piss myself and fall asleep. Embarrassing, sure, but nothing more. But there was that one night. The kids were at her parents' for the weekend. I'd decided to stay home drinking instead of going with her to a friend's dinner party. She came home late, like 1 a.m., later than just a dinner party should go. She'd lost the cardigan, too, revealing her strapless dress. By that time, I was the worst sort of drunk. Drunk enough to let my temper get the better of me, but not drunk enough to be sloppy and incoherent. I accused her. You were with Brandon, weren't you? Jared, you're being ridiculous. We'll talk in the morning. Don't lie to me. I'm not. You're drunk and acting out. Leave me alone. She walked towards the kitchen. I followed her, and got a whiff of what I thought was cologne, in my altered state. For God's sake, I can smell him on you. Jared, stop it. And then I said them. Those 4 little words, that shattered our marriage in an instant. I'll fucking kill you. My lowest moment. Drunk, depressed, and threatening the person I love the most. I would give anything to go back in time and take it back. Believe me, and every moment of my life since then has been me working to correct it. But it still bothers her. Sometimes when we have a bad fight, she brings it up and starts to cry. Sometimes, when I move quickly or unexpectedly towards her, she flinches a little. A lot of marriages have a stain like that. An awful moment, a betrayal, a break of trust. And no matter how hard you try to wash it away, the stain is always there. So, no, I wasn't going to tell her that I'd hallucinated her being dead. I rocked slowly in the chair. It squeaked under my weight. Emma giggled, and Adrian colored furiously, his crayon scratching against the page. Mary linked her arm with mine, smiling up at me. The fog. It had to be some sort of chemical, messing with our minds. Making us hurt ourselves, like Adrian. Making us hallucinate. Because I've been a drunk, I've had mental health issues, and I've been a total fucking mess. But I've never hallucinated anything in my life. I glanced out the window. The fog hung thick and heavy in the air, obscuring everything more than a few feet past our windows. We were like an island, just the 4 of us here in a house disconnected from everyone and everything, among a sea of roiling fog. Alone. Asterisk. I sat on Emma's bed. Adrian had already fallen asleep, but Emma needed her quota of bedtime stories before she would even think about sleep. Can we read the Frozen one, Daddy? She asked. You always ask for that one. It's my favorite. Then she lowered her voice to a whisper. Daddy, is Adrian okay? Damn it. I'd tried to be so quiet when I talked to Mary about it. But Emma must have heard. I swear, sometimes I think this kid has supernatural hearing. Yeah, he's going to be okay, I whispered back. I smiled at her, tucked a blonde curl behind her ear. I promise. And then I started the story, because I didn't want to answer any more awkward questions. Of course, she had more for me. Why is it so foggy? I don't know. The weather, I guess. It's weird. I know. Can I play outside tomorrow? Even if it's still foggy? I paused. I don't know. Okay. She squeezed my hand. Will you get Mr. Snuggles for me? Sure, sweetheart. Where is he? In the playhouse. I hesitated. He's in the playhouse. Outside. Yes. I glanced out the window. The fog was still there, diffusing the moonlight, making the night look lighter than it actually was. The street lamp in front of our house floated among the silhouettes of leafless trees, surrounded by a wide halo. Strangely, I couldn't see any of the other street lamps, even though they were only several feet away. I'll get him for you tomorrow. But I can't fall asleep without him. Why did you bring him in the playhouse? We were having a tea party. I frowned, sighed, hemmed and hawed. Please. Okay. I'll be right back. I went out of her room and walked down the stairs. Then I was standing at the sliding glass door, staring outside. The fence extended on either side of the backyard, disappearing completely into the white. The grass, too, just faded away. Like our backyard didn't even exist. No sign of the playhouse. Tucker lifted his head sleepily from the dog bed, staring at me. Am I really doing this? Asterisk. My head was pounding, and I was so tired. But I had to do it, for Emma. Enduring her resisting sleep for an hour or crying would be way, way worse. I opened the door. Outside, it was silent. Not quiet, absolutely silent. No rattling of branches, no quiet murmurs from the houses next door. The air was cool against my skin, but it didn't have that heavy feeling of humidity. Which was weird, considering the air was probably mostly water vapor at this point. I continued blindly into the fog. After a minute, that's it for now. Story finale in second part.